Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to brass plate and copper plate at home, and this is virtually free as it involves only items that you probably already have at home. For this project you will need some distilled water, a power supply. It's better if you have one where you can adjust the voltage, but it will also work if you simply use batteries. You will need some alligator clips, 2 copper electrodes. Now you can notice that they are very shiny. That's because I scrubbed them with some steel wool. It's very important for your electrodes to be very clean. Now these are virtually free. They just come from plumbing scraps. Of course you will need the object that you want to plate. A plastic container or a glass container, but definitely not metal, because otherwise you will have some shorts with the current. Some baking soda and a scale. Okay, now this is what you need in order to copper plate. Now for brass plating you will need a piece of brass. Mine is just a piece of a screw. That's all I could find, but I mean you can go to a hardware store and buy a brass screw or whatever object that is made out of brass. Some pliers, a stand so that you can clip the object onto it, and a torch. You will also need some nail polish and some acetone. And optionally, if you have a Dremel with a buffing brush, that can help you to add a final touch and make your object very shiny. Let us first prepare the electrolyte that we will need. So put your distilled water in the plastic container. So here I'm using 600 milliliters, and we are going to add some baking soda in it, and we should use 1 gram for every 25 milliliters. So for 600 milliliters that corresponds to 24 grams. So let me measure this. All right. Doesn't have to be very precise. So put this in the water, and you can use your copper electrode to stir, and make sure that you don't touch the part of the electrode that is going to be in the solution, because you don't want to add some oil or whatever impurities. All right. Okay, that's good enough. Now we're going to connect the electrode on one side, I mean on the negative, and the other one on the positive, and put them at the opposite side of the container. And I'm going to apply a DC voltage until I get a current of about 300 milliamps. And again, this doesn't have to be very precise. Now we have to wait for about 2 or 3 hours. So as soon as the current flows, you can see some bubbles at the electrode. So let me try to focus. So that means that you are electrolyzing the solution. And also you can see that here my current now already decreased to 260 milliamps. So in principle I would simply increase the voltage, but my power supply doesn't go above 10 volts. So anyway, it's not a problem if you can have a greater current. It just means that it will take a little bit longer for the solution to be ready. In the meantime, let's see what I would like to try to do. So I would like to copper plate George Washington's head, and on the other side, more challenging, I would like to brass plate the Statue of Liberty, leave the New York State as it is, and copper plate the rest. So let's see how we can do this. Brass plating is actually very easy. All we have to do is to use the torch and heat the object and take the brass piece and brush the area that we want to plate. Now, unfortunately, I just lost the little brass piece that I showed earlier. So instead, I'm going to use my Dremel with this brass brush. But the problem is that I won't be able to make a very precise job. So I will put some brass all over the coin. But anyway, I just want to show how it works. Okay. So now we have to be careful not to heat the object too much, otherwise it will turn black. So I keep my flame relatively far. Okay, so now there's brass everywhere and my coin turned black. It's okay, I'm going to scrub with the steel wool and I should be able to recover the original metal. Well, now the difficulty here is without the proper tools it's hard to make the limit. I mean to keep the brass only on the Statue of Liberty. But anyway, that will the purpose of this is only to show how to brass plate and copper plate. So I'm gonna try to scrub around the Statue of Liberty and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so I was able to remove all the black oxidation with the steel wool, but I don't have fine tools, so I couldn't remove the excess of copper that goes beyond the Statue of Liberty. So we will have this halo of copper brass, and well, it may not look bad once it's finished, and the other side is still in the original metal. Okay, so now what we want to do is to copper plate George Washington's head and the remainder, everything that is not the Statue of Liberty and the New York State. So in order to do this, what I have to do is to apply a mask that will protect the parts that I don't want to be copper plated. And for this I'm going to use the nail polish. Okay, I'm going to do this off camera because it's not easy to do it like this. I have the camera in my way, so but I mean, you know how to paint, I don't need to teach you that. It has been 2 hours and the electrolyte is now ready. This blue color indicates that it contains copper ions, and it is these ions that are going to be plating the object. So let me turn this off. Now the electrodes will have to be cleaned because we don't want impurities to go into the solution. So I cleaned the 2 electrodes and now we're going to use them both as anodes. So for this I have now 2 alligator clips that are connected to the positive, and I'm going to put the electrodes in the same configuration as they were before. And now the piece to be copper plated is connected to the cathode. Okay, I put the clear coat, the nail polish on it. The problem is that it's clear, so I'm not sure where I put it exactly. It was hard to see. I should have used the colored one, but well, we'll see what we get. So make sure that the alligator clip touches at least one region that is not covered with the nail polish. So here that's the neck of George Washington. It is not supposed to be coat it with the nail polish because I want to copper plate it. I want to copper plate that part. So, well, we'll see if this works. So let me turn this back on. Select DC voltage. And, well, I'm gonna dip this in the center. And let me run maybe 100 milliamps. So I don't know, well, yeah, we can't see on the video, but there are bubbles on the object, so that means that I correctly connected it to a port that is conducting. So hopefully that will work. Now the question is, how long does it need to stay in the solution? We'll see. Let me increase a little bit the voltage. And let me wait a minute. So after a minute we still can't see anything, so let me leave it longer. It has been 5 minutes now. The current decreased to 70 milliamps, so let me increase it again to 100 and let's take a look. Ah, nice. I don't know if we can see on the camera like this, but it started, we start to see the copper. It's very light, but it seems promising, so let me put it back. It has been 30 minutes, so wow. Yeah, it's not bad. It's a pity that the nail polish that I put was actually not well on the lines, on the limiting lines. Okay, well, but at least it shows that the copper plating thing works. Let me clean it and then we'll take a closer look. Alright, so here is the result. For the coin on the left, that's the one that you saw all the process. So the problem that I had was that it wasn't easy to brass plate a very precise zone because of the brush. I mean, it goes beyond the lines. But well, still that gives an interesting effect. Now on the other side, it's definitely possible to do copper plating on certain regions. The problem is that the nail polish started to peel off, so maybe I need to find something else, but it definitely works. Now for the coin in the middle, it is fully copper plated and I think the result is quite beautiful. Okay, and the one on the right is brassed, fully brassed on one side. I mean, brass plated on one side. So, well, I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you will be able to use these tips in order to make your own creations. Thanks for watching, and please register to my channel.